Hello everyone and welcome to the second video of learning how to use Inkscape. In this video, we're going to learn how to transform an object to a path and how to modify it. On the next video, we're going to see how to create freeform paths and from zero, not necessarily from previous created objects like rectangles or circles. So let's get into it. On the previous video, we saw how to create a square or rectangle and a circle, okay? And these have their own properties or behaviors. By double clicking on them, we could activate the editing mode, which would let us scale them by using the squares or modify some unique property of them. In this case, you could modify the squares, and in the case of the circle, you could transform the circle to a kind of a path, open path, or a segment shape. Okay. What we are going to do now instead is to select them, go to the path options, and click on Object to Path. By doing so, we haven't lost neither the fill properties nor the stroke one, but now if we double click it fast enough, we're going to see that the handles that we have disappeared. Instead, we have some kind of diamond shapes things that are nodes. And in the case of the circle, they are square. We're going to see why they are square and why they are diamond. But the thing is, we no longer can use the previous properties. The other way to activate that editing mode is by going here to the Edit Path by Node tool, or just by pressing F2. So here we are with the square. So each one of these diamond shaped handles are nodes. The nodes are the beginning and the end of any path. Nodes are the building blocks of paths. So a path is created by connecting all nodes that belong to that path. So in this case, we have a first one that is connected to a second one that is connected to a third one, then to a fourth one, and the fourth is connected again to the first one, closing the entire path. So if we modify the position of any node, the path is going to be modified, maintaining the connection it had with the other nodes. We can just grab it by left clicking and maintaining that left click and release it in other place to reposition the node. The neat thing about nodes is that they are not only about the position of the path, but also they can give the path smoothness. Okay, so if you see now, they are very angular because this node is called the corner node. But if we wanted to, we could, by pressing Shift and maintaining that while dragging on top of a node, we could create a handle. These handles, as you can see, modify the path by giving the node some kind of strength in a way. The further away is the handle from the node, the more strength this node will apply over the path. So I can do something like this. So if you notice, I haven't changed the node's position, but instead I have given it a handle that has a lot of strength in this direction. I could add another handle if I wanted to, in the same way, by pressing Shift and then clicking and dragging with the left click. Since I'm working with a corner node, I can grab any handle and move it in any angle that I want to without disturbing the other one. So I can create this kind of crazy shapes by using one node only. But it could be the case that I need the node to be smoother. I need for it to look more like a arc instead of this kind of crazy corner thing. So for that, I can, by selecting this node, I can change it to be a smooth node. So what does this node do? It creates a dependency between both handles. They can have any distance they want in regards to their node, but the their positioning is, or their direction is always opposite to the other handle. So if I modify this one, regardless of the distance it has with in regards to the node, the direction is always opposite to the other one. So if I start rotating it, the other handle will start rotating also. So this let us create more smooth corners or forms or paths. So now you may be wondering how to make these handles not only have a opposite direction, but also have the same strength. So for that, we could select this node and go to the symmetric smooth node. Boom. So in this case, not only the handle will be opposite, but if I modify the distance in regards to the node, the other handle will mirror that distance in the opposite direction. And they will always have the same distance. So now you can have a symmetrical strength assigned to the node. There is another way to do smooth nodes, and it's by using this node here, that is the auto smooth. This one, by some crazy calculation or something, creates a smooth segment of the path, or makes this part smooth in regards to the other nodes. If you modify it, it will be automatically transformed into a smooth node. You can still revert that by assigning it again as a auto smooth node. So right now I have modified all nodes by clicking an empty space and then dragging on top of the shape. And if I assign auto smooth, I can see that my shape had changed to a very circular or very smooth square. Okay. By the way, if I had selected this shape and I do something like this, in which I'm selecting both the nodes and the other shape, it will only select the nodes of this shape. It will not select these ones. Okay. If you want to select both, you can do it, but we'll see that in a future video. So each segment of the path that is between two nodes, I'm going to call it a path segment. It's an obvious name, but it works. So let's see how to work with this kind of shape. Okay, I'm going to transform this node over here to a diamond one, or a corner one, and this one as a smooth one. Okay, why I'm doing this? To show you the following thing. Here we have a segment of a path, or a path segment. Each part of a path that is between two nodes is a path segment. You could modify that segment by using the handles or moving the nodes, but you could also do it by grabbing a part of that path segment and dragging it or modifying directly. So you will see that the nodes stay in their place, but the shape is changing. You can also note that when I started modifying this top part, the left part started changing as well, while the right part stayed the same as it was before. That is because this over here, the right one, is a corner or a diamond node, in which one handle is not affected by the other. Okay, so if I modify here the path, you can see that the handle is moving, but the other one is staying as it was. In contrast, if I start modifying this part of the path here, since this node is a smooth one, the handle that is being modified will impact the other one, changing its angle or rotation. So, in order to prevent that, we don't need for it to be a diamond necessarily. We could just have another node here to deform or sculpt or whatever the shape as we wanted to. So for us to add another node here, we have two methods. One is double clicking on any side of the path where we want the node to be. So for instance, if I want it to be over here, the new node, I can just double click it there. And now when I drag this node, you will see that this part of the path is not being modified because I'm just working with the node and not with the segment. Also, I could revert that. I could modify this part over here, and the node that is being affected is this one, not the other one. So in that way, this side of the shape is not being deformed. Only this one and the pattern I was working on. The other way to create a node that is very useful in a lot of cases is by selecting both nodes, either by click and dragging over them or just by clicking on the path one time and then going over here to insert new nodes into selected segment. By doing so, a new node will be created in the middle of the path. This is very useful, for instance, when you're trying to create a symmetrical shape. There are other tools to do that also, but we're going to see them in the future. So now we have this new node, and as with the previous nodes, I can transform it to be any kind of node that I want to. So there it is, kind of fun. Now it looks like a drop. I could also delete this node by pressing here or just by pressing delete on keyboard, and there it is. The nice thing is that when I do that, the path will try to maintain the shape it had by using the remaining nodes. Okay, so instead of reverting to a primal state, it will just maintain the shape it had, the closer to the shape it had. The other thing we could do, and we're going to create another square to show that, and that square we're going to convert it into a path. We could select two nodes and merge them. So for instance, I have selected these two on the top. I'm going to merge them by pressing here. It's called join selected nodes, and now they have become one. And I have created, in this case, an isosceles triangle that can be useful to create an arrow. So following what we have learned, we could select these two nodes here, insert a middle one. We could select the three nodes, and we could press again select one, and we're going to see that for each selected segment we're going to get a new node. So there it is. And now let's see how to do this nice. We're going to select these three again and add new nodes. So whoop, we're going to drag them, and there it is. We have an arrow. Okay, so there are other things we can do with nodes, but we're not going to dive into those in this video because they had to do with opening and closing paths. But I believe that right now you have a lot of things to learn and to do with this new tool. Other thing that you have to know is that the Ctrl, Shift, and Alt keys that we learned in the previous video have their own use or effect in this mode also. So, for instance, if I grab this node here and move this handle while pressing Alt, I will keep the distance of the handles in regard to the node fixed, but the direction will change. So this is useful to rotate the handle without modifying its strength. If I do it with Ctrl, I can do little steps, but I will be able to change the distance and rotation, but in a more stepped way. If I press Shift, nothing will happen with this type of node. Okay? On the other hand, when working with diamond nodes, if I press Alt, I will be able to rotate the handle, maintaining the distance fixed, and the other handle will be not affected because it's a corner or diamond node. But if I press Shift and Alt while dragging a handle, I can rotate the diamond in any direction that I want, maintaining the angle between the handles. Oh, that rhymed. So that's useful. Also, the other thing you have to know is that if you select more than one handle, you can scale them and modify them similar as you can do it with a shape. So if you press F1 and select an object, you can scale it, you can rotate it. So with the nodes is the same thing. You could modify this in this way by scaling it horizontally, or you could select all of these nodes at the same time and scale them in crazy ways, or even rotate them by clicking again, and woo, you can rotate the nodes. If you want to select nodes, and doing this is kind of messy because there are nodes between, I don't know, it could be for a lot of reasons. You can select one node and then by pressing Shift you can click on another and you will have both selected or this group selected. You could select any group of nodes while pressing Shift if you wanted to. Okay, so it doesn't have to be by using the handle. So that's it for today, for this video. You will find that you can do a lot of things by working with nodes. This is the powerful part of any vector program software. This is the part that really gives the creator the necessary freedom to render their shapes and drawings and everything. So if you like it, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you have not, share this video. All of those things helps a lot. You can see my work at my Instagram, and if you like my work, remember that you can buy those as apparel, pillows, all kind of stuff in my TeePublic store. So I'll be seeing you in the next video.